Okay, you bet.
Well, tennis fans are shelling out the big bucks to see the action at Wimbledon this week. The Grand Slam event is the oldest and possibly the most prestigious event in the sport, but that doesn't mean it's stuffy and boring. Action is hot on the court and off. Tennis officials, for example, are investigating reports of irregular betting activity, while veteran players like Andre Agassi are battling for one more win. For more on what's up at Wimbledon this year, a former professional player who's now with Tennis BC, and Ryan Clark joins me from Vancouver. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I want to start with Agassi because he fascinates me.
Sure.
I feel like I've been watching him forever, and maybe that's the problem. He's been playing
decades.
Forever.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 decades almost now.
Yeah, and he's just they're just shooting him full of cortisone, and he's and he's stumbling off the court. I know he loves the game, but I'm surprised he hasn't quit before now, honestly.
What else does he do? I mean, he's got all the money in the world that he needs. He's got a great family. He's got a great wife, and he doesn't want to go just sit now. He wants to keep going, and this is what drives him, is just to keep winning, and he enjoys the spotlight, and he enjoys the stadium. I mean, what else is he going to do? Yeah. So he wants to keep going.
Well, he did say he's retiring after the U.S. Open, but when you watch him, he won his match. He had a terrible first set, but then he was back into form. He is one of the most entertaining players even now to watch, don't you think?
Absolutely, because he tries so hard out there. You can just see in his face the passion and the desire to win and to be out there, and he enjoys being out there. He loves the crowd. And the crowd loves him, and he loves every part of being there. And people kind of draw on that, which is great. And you just feel the energy when he's out there.
Is it easy to love, I don't know, Roger Federer? I mean, it's easy to love his tennis because he's amazing. But, you take a look at someone like him or Nadal. Are those the kinds of stars that people can get attached to because they're so attached to Agassi?
Absolutely. I mean, the game is in great hands with those two. I mean, they're both young, too. And Federer is around 24, I believe, and Nadal at 19, 20. I mean, you're talking 2 young guys who have a great rivalry, who are going to be around, hopefully for years to come, past 4 or 5 years. Makings of a great rivalry. Federer, so talented. I mean, the players are already saying that he's the greatest ever. And then you have Nadal, who's set the record for clay and who just absolutely fights with everything he's got and has the whole look with the capri pants and the cutoff shirt and everything. And it's just great for the game. It'll be very healthy with those two holding up the banner.
And who looks good for you from Wimbledon? Is it Federer? Because he just seems unstoppable, doesn't he?
I think on the men's side, you have to go with Federer. I mean, he's an artiste. I mean, you always talk about so many players are so mechanical and structured in their game, and those are the ones that a lot of times come through. But he is a true artiste of the game. He can win so many different ways. He's got every shot, and you never know what's going to come at you. He's got 2 or 3 different ways to beat you every time. He can come with a big serve. He can come with big ground strokes. He can do it all. And very few players, if any, can say they can do it all. They have 1 or 2 ways that they can go about winning. He's got 3 or 4 different ways he can go about winning, and just no one can catch on to his rhythm right now. So until someone really wants to step forward, he's the guy until someone can prove otherwise. Because
men's tennis is so much about the serve, I have to confess I usually prefer watching the women play because there's a little more tennis to watch as a result. Who looks good to you? Well, the women's game is absolutely great right now because you got so many different characters involved. I mean, just pick them basically. You've got obviously Maria Sharapova, the tall Russian, who I will add won her very first pro event here in Vancouver in 2002. She's obviously going to be someone that everyone looks for. There's a new upcomer, Nicole Vadasova, who is just points away from being in the finals of the French Open. She's a 17-year-old, 6'2" from the Czech Republic, also looks like a runway model, who's also going to be out there battling. There's Martina Hingis, who's come back after a layoff, who was number 1 in the world for a long time. She's going to be great. You've got last year's champion, Venus Williams. You've got French Open champion, Justine Henin-Hardin. You've got Kim Clijsters, who's always number 1 or number 2. Plus a whole host of others. So you've got no shortage of good characters on the women's side. And right now I would say for the women's side, definitely, unlike the men's where Federer is the person to beat, I think on the women's it's just absolutely up for grabs right now. You saw all the top women go through fairly easy in their first few rounds. So I think it's up for anybody. I'd like to see Maria come through. That's my own personal thing, but you never know. Okay, sounds great. Ryan, really good of you to do this. And it's because you don't know who's going to win the women's. That's why they're more interesting to watch. Aha. Thanks very much. Anytime. Okay. Take care, Kathleen. Coming up, we will have an update on that Grizzlies' great escape. It's quite a story. Plus a report on something perhaps even more dangerous to you, and that's trans fats.
Yeah, and as we go to break, here is a look at this day in history and a young man who really inspired so many Canadians. We'll be right back.
I said all along,
encourage. I text